Hey guys, StatKing back with another edition of Dark Power. We're going to be talking about this week's episodes of AEW Dark and NWA Powerrr as usual. And as a special treat, there were actually two forms of Dark this week. There was an episode that was released on Friday before Revolution. That was a full-fledged episode. And this week, instead of the normal full-fledged episode, they had one match that was taped before the Revolution buy-in. And as it so happened, it was a match that I got to see live. I was at Revolution, so I got the Mox shirt, championship shirt already. If you haven't already watched Revolution, well, he did beat Chris Jericho, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for AEW Dark and NWA Powerrr. Let's jump right in. So Dark this week has matches with Luther versus Sonny Kiss, the Dark Order versus Peter Avalon and Michael Nakazawa, Miranda Ali versus Britt Baker, Brandon Cutler and Sean Spears versus Private Party. And then, as I mentioned, there is the match that aired on Tuesday, which is Britt Baker and Penelope Ford versus Yuki Zawi, barely pronounce the name for some reason, and Riho. So, starting off, they have Luther versus Sonny Kiss. This is a interesting match in that Sonny Kiss is trying to use his speed to overpower Luther's larger size. But what's kind of interesting is that Luther's size is not taking away from his speed. He's able to keep up with Sonny Kiss, and it's a quick match, it's a short match, but it's designed to do one thing, and that's get Luther over with the crowd as a threat, as somebody who is going to hurt whoever he's in the ring with. And that's exactly what he does. He really does put the hurt on Sonny Kiss, holding on to his submission move after the bell rings, after Sonny Kiss is already tapped out. And at that point in time, Jimmy Havoc comes out to make the save. Now, Jimmy Havoc's teamed up with Sonny Kiss in the past, and when he did, they had Luther show up as a distraction. They've had Luther tease a storyline now with Jimmy Havoc for some time, and I think that they're moving forward with this. We're going to see that down the road. Something's going to happen here between Luther and Jimmy. Kind of interested to see it. Maybe it might lead to the third unsanctioned lights out match with AEW, which we can finally get some more hardcore action going on. That's Jimmy Havoc's specialty. That's supposed to be Luther's specialty as the original Death Dealer, as they called him, or Dr. Death. So it'll be interesting to see how they build on that and give us that style of hardcore wrestling that some people have been looking for, and we haven't really seen since the Moxley versus Omega lights out match. So next we have Dark Order versus Peter Avalon, Michael Nakazawa. They have Peter Avalon tell Nakazawa that he doesn't want that comedy stuff, but Nakazawa is going to get that baby oil out there no matter what. And halfway through the match or so, or towards the end of the match, Avalon just gives up. He just starts to leave, and he abandons Nakazawa to get a pinfall from the Dark Order. They are definitely building up Dark Order as a threat. We saw what happened. Now this is coming before Revolution, so we see what happens at Revolution with the debut of Colt Cabana, with the attacks on SCU, with the tension that's happening with Chris Daniels and SCU. That gets resolved. Then we go into Dynamite, where we have everything that happens there with the 8-man tag match, and maybe we're going to find out who the Exalted One is. I thought we might find out on Saturday, and that's why I was a little upset that it was going to be a pre-show match. Then I figured, maybe we're not going to get that reveal this Saturday this past Saturday, because of the fact that it is a pre-show match. We didn't. They saved it. I like that. We're going to see who the Exalted One is, but this match is just a stepping stone in the storyline of saying Dark Order is here, Dark Order is punishing people, and they're picking up wins. After this, we have Miranda Ali versus Britt Baker. This is kind of a quick match in the sense of you're waiting for Britt to kind of turn on the gas. You're waiting for her to really sink her teeth into the match and get, no pun intended with sink the teeth. She's a dentist, if you don't know. But her gimmick is more now about pissing people off in the crowd, and she does a good job at that. And she pulls out the win over Miranda Ali. I'm not expecting Miranda Ali to get a win over Britt Baker. Not only is Miranda Ali not a focal point of AEW. This is also AEW Dark, right? So Britt gets the tap out with the mandible claw lock. And moving onwards, we have Brandon Cutler and Shawn Spears versus Private Party, the main event of the taped episode of Dark that airs before Revolution, that aired on Friday. This was actually a really good match. They gave this match time. They were able to work a good bit in this match. I really like how Private Party is slowly coming back on the scene. The announcers even mentioned it, that Private Party started really strong. They've kind of died back down. Now let's see, can they overcome the odds when it comes to how they have been doing? And here they pull out a win, but part of the reason why they pull out the win is because Shawn Spears kind of gives up on Cutler. Now, I don't really like the fact that they had 2 matches on a 4-match card where the heel gives up on the face and kind of leaves. That's what Avalon did to Nakazawa. That's what Spears does to Cutler. However, what I like that was different is that in this situation, Cutler fought back. Cutler kept persevering. It didn't last long, but he was doing what needed to be done to pull out a gutsy win. And while he came up short, it kind of shows that Spears is a dick. Cutler's doing the best that he can with what's available to him, but that Private Party gel as a tag team. All right, now, moving to this women's tag match. This was a really great match. It was a nice way to get the crowd amped, get us going when we're all packing into Wintrust Arena. I know that I was getting ready to get up to wait in the lines to get some drinks, get some sodas and all that fun stuff before the pay-per-view started. But once they announced that the matches were gonna happen, it's like, all right, let's see what it is. And we find out that it's a women's match, tag team match. I was like, can't pass up on this. As soon as I see that it's Yuka Sakazawa, still don't know why pronunciation is escaping me, and Riho, I'm like, all right, this is great. And then once we see it's Penelope Ford and Britt, I'm like, okay, we gotta stay for this. As it happened, I left later afterwards, and I missed the AEW debut of Colt Cabana, which, since we're in Chicago, that was a little upsetting. But it was a great pop for Colt. But anyway, this match was good. I liked how Kip Sabian kept trying to interfere in the match. He kept making his influence known. That's smart when you have a heel on the outside. That's what you want to do. And he knows his role. He was doing what needed to be done to get heat in the match, but he's not taking away from what Penelope and Britt are doing. And they put on a good match. There's a nice, when Riho comes off the top rope onto Kip Sabian. I was there for this pay-per-view with my girlfriend, and that got a good pop out of her. She's watching Dynamite with me on a week-to-week basis, but still, to see all that live, it's still incredible, right? Like you guys know, when you go to live shows versus watching it at home on TV. So that was a great match for her. She really likes the character of Britt being more and more of a asshole. The barista stuff, that's all good. So that was a good match. It was a great way to amp up the crowd. And moving onwards to NWA Powerrr, a great way to amp up a crowd is to start off with a title match. And that's exactly what NWA Powerrr does. This week they start off with Ziggy Dice versus Ricky Starks in a NWA TV title match. And in a kind of a surprise win, Ziggy Dice picks up the win. We have a new champion. Great news, a new champion. The Lucky 7 counter gets reset. As you will remember, if the NWA champion has 7 successful defenses, countouts and disqualifications do count, then the TV champion is able to challenge for the NWA World's Champion. And now they have a new TV champion in the form of Ziggy Dice. I liked the match. It was good. It kept everybody going with their character, right? Ricky Starks is trying to be that underdog who has to pull out gutsy wins sometimes, but he's also flashy in the way that he does it. Meanwhile, Ziggy Dice, as a heel, is kind of doing as little as he needs to, but making the most out of each moves. And in this situation, that's what happens. He's able to win without really hitting a finisher of any form. He basically just falls into the pin and is able to hook the legs, and we get a 1-2-3. But either way, congratulations to Ziggy Dice. But speaking of the NWA World's Championship, we move onwards to a press conference between Marty Scurll and Nick Aldis. This was a really good press conference. I don't think anybody was actually there. I think they were just facing cameras, but they continued to get over the feud between the two of them, the program that the NWA and Ring of Honor has been building, the issues between Strictly Business and between the Villain Enterprises, and at the same time, they kind of also are talking about the building that they're at, right? Because this press conference is happening at the stadium, and at the stadium or arena that they're going to be having the Crockett Cup at, it's a new it's a new arena, it's a new building, and this is going to be one of the first, I think, the first wrestling event that's held at this arena. And the arena looks good from the video and the pictures, and I think that's great because it's showing the NWA moving forward into the future while still maintaining those ties to the past in the form of the fact that this is the Crockett Cup, right? So the promos themselves were not as good as the exchange that the two had when they had their sit down, but again, they're not able to work off of each other. It's more just talking directly, and at the same time, we're kind of, in a sense, sold on the match. We know what we're looking for, we know what we're going to get, and they aren't doing as much as they necessarily have to because they don't need to. When you don't need to do things, you don't have to do things, right? And less is more in this situation, and that works out very well for them. Just as less is more, the Mongrovian flag bit that happens after this, very short, but to the point, and it was really good. And if you are interested in buying a Mongrovian flag, go for it. I don't know, maybe that's a purchase to adorn these bare walls. Sooner or later, I just re-signed the lease for this apartment, but I don't have that much up on the walls, which is weird considering I've been here for a year in the beginning of May. But there's I have a collection of pops that's going to be going up there. That would actually be kind of cool if we got some like a Nick Aldis pop or a Ricky Starks pop. Definitely a Thunder Rosa, now some K-pop will be kind of great. And I'd be interested to see if AEW expands their pops as well, because I know they did them back when they were the Bullet Club, and I have the Young Bucks pops, but it'd be nice to see them expand that merchandise line. I know I saw they are doing the action figures, they had them at the Toy Fair, so pops, more pops would be great. But speaking of pops, doing well with comments in the. Give me some comments if you think I'm doing well with transitions, because in my mind, I'm doing amazing. But speaking of pops, we have a promo from Aaron Stevens and Question Mark talking about how they want the tag title belts. In order to get the belts, they have to rise up the contender rankings. In order to rise up the contender rankings, you have to face teams. And the teams they want to face are the Rock and Roll Express, and nobody gets a pop like the Rock and Roll Express when it comes to an NWA crowd. So they call out the Rock and Roll Express. The Rock and Roll Express come out. There's a little exchange with Aaron Stevens making a joke. He says, "Let's get down to business. I don't know how much time you guys have." Crowd starts booing, thinking that he's talking about death. He spins it very well, saying, "I don't know how long this segment is going to last. You guys are thinking of the wrong thing." So let's talk about these tag title championships. You guys were recently champions. We want to face the champions. So if we beat you, we can use that as a stepping stone to get to facing Eli Drake and James Storm. So Ricky Morton and the Rock and Roll Express agree to... so the Rock and Roll Express... Sorry, getting a text on my phone, guys. But the Rock and Roll Express agree to a match with Aaron Stevens and Question Mark, Gibson and Morton. They agree that they will face them next week. And we will see if Aaron Stevens and Question Mark are going to be able to challenge for the tag titles down the road if they're able to pick up a win. I think that this is a good way to get Stevens and Question Mark into the Crockett Cup, since the Crockett Cup is more about tag titles and the tag team wrestling. You don't necessarily need to defend the national or third degree national heavyweight championship. We can forgive Aaron Stevens if he doesn't defend the title, and whoever they face in the Crockett Cup, if and when they lose, you can have somebody from that team. You can start a story there when it comes to his next national title defense. So, speaking of defenses, we have the Bouncers versus not the Bouncers, the Dawsons. My apologies, versus Caleb Conway and C.W. Anderson in a last chance tornado match. We're told that the losers of this match may be forced to leave the NWA. This is their last chance. They got to hold on to their jobs, and you can feel the passion. You can feel the almost desperation. The Dawsons don't want to leave the NWA. Caleb Conway doesn't want to leave the NWA. C.W. Anderson, to the announcer's point, doesn't really even have a contract, so he's fighting for a contract. He definitely doesn't want to leave the NWA. And this is a good match. You kind of have a good back and forth. Conley and C.W. Anderson pull out a gutsy win. They pick up the win. The Bouncers lose. I don't know if this means the Bouncers are going to be gone from the... I keep saying the Bouncers. The Dawsons are going to be gone from the NWA. I don't think they should be. They fill a good role in the NWA, and I don't know. That's why I'm confusing them. The Bouncers, I don't know if the Bouncers, how long the Bouncers are going to really be around. I know there's this partnership between the NWA and the Ring of Honor, but NWA need their own set of tag team specialists who are also just big, heavy, bruising guys, you know? Because the Bouncers may not always be there, be available for tapings. They may not be there for whenever the NWA needs them. But the Dawsons will if the Dawsons are on contract, right? So, after this is a May Valentine and Saul Renaro promo. This is more about giving an update on Saul's health, talking about this weird lingerie line that May Valentine's working on. I don't know if that's a real thing. If she is actually working on a lingerie line, best of luck to her if she is. It's a complicated, hard to crack market. I speak as a former 2-year cash wrap lead at a Victoria's Secret, so I know a good bit about those sales. It is tough. It can be difficult, especially when you got somebody like Rihanna just cornering the market when it comes to the Savage X Fenty lines. But she is working on a lingerie line, and Saul Renaro is helping her because he still has that injury to his arm. He says he's doing well, though, that should be coming back soon, and after this they go to pose with the fans, and they're taking pictures with the fans or videos. While they're doing that, they show Royce Isaacs. Royce Isaacs is seething. That's his girl, that's his woman, just taking videos and pictures with another man, talking about how she's helping him, or he's helping her with his lingerie line. How do you know what's really happening? Lingerie can create so many different situations, right? You're working on something, close quarters, something about intimacy. You never know what can happen. Why would you want that? Why would you want to take that risk if you're Royce Isaacs, right? Why would you want to potentially lose your girl? So he is seething. He is angry, and he debates for a minute or two about whether or not he should do anything about this. And then he says, "I'm in there. I'm stopping this. I'm nipping this in the bud." And he gets in there and he teases injuring or attempting to injure Saul's good hand and good arm. And May Valentine, it's up to May Valentine to protest this and get him to stop. She succeeds. She's quite angry with Royce Isaacs for not understanding her relationship with Saul Renaro, of which we don't know exactly what is the extent of this relationship. And because of that, she leaves with Saul, leave Royce to be just lonely. Oh, so lonely. He may not have anybody to call his own. After this, there is a Pope promo with the Bouncers before the tag title match. That's our main event. They're going to be trying to take those tag titles. Speaking of the Crockett Cup, speaking of the Dawsons, speaking of Aaron Stevens and Question Mark, you see this tag team storyline, this tag team arc that's being built for the Crockett Cup. Now the Bouncers are challenging Eli Drake and James Storm for the tag titles. There's a Pope promo before that. Because of that, you know what's coming. Eddie Kingston comes out with the champions. And this is a really good title match. I liked it. Great main event. It reminded me a lot of Cutler and Spears and Private Party in AEW Dark. Not because of necessarily the story that's being told, but because they gave these guys time and that there is an actual full-fledged story being told in this match. in this, it's whether Eli Drake and James Storm, who have conquered odds in the past, whether they're going to be able to overcome the size of the bouncers. And we've talked when it was the bouncers in the Dawson's match about how you have a natural David versus Goliath feel sometimes, and how you can have that match that's being told, and sometimes it can feel trite, overused. Sometimes it won't be. And to me, this was one of those times where it wasn't, because you have two former current champions in the NWA, a former singles champion in the NWA in the form of James Storm, and if you know your history, you have former world champions in the form of both men. Both men are former Impact World Champions. So you're watching them and you're saying, can the bouncers beat the pedigree of Eli Drake and James Storm with their size and their strength? And Drake and Storm are saying, no, not today. Not today. We're going to find a way to defeat these guys, and that's exactly what they do. They successfully retain the titles. It's a pretty good match. If you get a chance, check it out. It's, as it goes in the course of the show, a 1 hour show. It's not too long, but they gave them time. This is only a 3-match episode, but they gave them the time to do what they needed to do, and because of that, it's a great match to watch. It's a great main event. After that, you have Eddie Kingston getting in the ring, taunting Pope, saying, let's do this. I think it'll be great if the two of them have a singles match at the Crockett Cup. That'll be a great way. So the Crockett Cup, because it's a tag title tournament, you need to have other matches in between to kind of break up that flow, that momentum, and kind of reset the crowd, right? Also, because it's a tournament, you're going to have people who have multiple matches in the night. You want to try to give those people a chance to rest. They're going through XYZ in the form of a match. Something, starts seizing up, or whatever the case may be. You got to check out the trainer. You got to get some ice. Do what you got to do. And so you need time. And a lot of the wrestling is simply buying time. You're buying time for your opponent to recover. That's why a lot of times you see heel hit something really hard, really wicked. He goes for the cover, babyface kicks out, and then the heel will do the, it was two? It was two? And the ref's like, yeah, it was two. It was more than one, it was less than three, it was two. And the heel can't believe it. What they're doing in that motion, in that time frame, yes, they're expressing frustration. But at the same time, they are buying time for their opponent to recover. In the same way when a babyface does it. These are all little things that people in the ring are doing to give their opponent to buy time. Now, if you take a match, the story being told in the match, and you make that larger story being told over an event, especially with a tournament, you're going to have time. And I think Eddie Kingston versus Pope will be a great match to have for the Crockett Cup as something to buy time. But as it stands, I am done for this week buying your time. I hope that you enjoyed your time here with this recap of Dark and Powerrr. I'll see you guys next time. I'm looking forward to the Crockett Cup. And tell me what you guys think about what you think a Crockett Cup, the tournament finals will be. Who you think will be a tag team that wins the whole damn thing. Until next time, guys, StatKing signing off.